What's up, guys? Welcome into another episode of Bulls Latest. I'm your host, Matt Johnson here. I want to start today's show by thanking Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring today's video. I've got a great show for you guys today. But first, I want to get you guys in on all the great action that Underdog Fantasy has to offer. You guys can get up to $75 of bonus entries after playing just your first $5 today. Scan the QR code and get started today, guys. A lot of great NBA action post All-Star break. You can even take advantage of some markets that we're going to have on Underdog Fantasy during All-Star week. And it's going to be a race to the finish line post All-Star break, guys. The trade deadline's now over. Things are going to heat up. The playoff races are going to jump into play here. You're going to see a lot of great basketball over the next couple of months here as we move into April and playoff season in the NBA. All you got to do, again, scan that QR code to join today and get in on all the action that Underdog Fantasy has to offer. I wanted to start, guys, by recapping the Bulls' 123-115 loss to the Brooklyn Nets. This was a tough loss because on paper, this was a team I thought the Bulls should have been able to handle. We'll get into this in a little bit in the state of the Bulls and just the future outlook of this organization at the moment. This is the Bulls' fifth straight loss. It's their eighth loss in their last 9 games. And Brooklyn won this game playing without Michael Porter Jr. And have now won the season series versus the Bulls 3-1. And Brooklyn, guys, is a team that's been struggling mightily themselves this year. They have a lot of questions to answer in terms of what direction their organization is heading. So, dropping this game, it does hint towards the Bulls kind of pushing towards a tank here. And the tankathon might be on, guys. And I hate to kind of use that terminology because you want to take pride in being a fan of the Chicago Bulls. But for so many years here, we saw the Bulls push to be as competitive as possible, bring in as many veterans as they could to try and win now. And it just did not get them very far, in terms of just jumping out of that play-in territory. So looking at the box score in this one, guys, Anthony Simons, 23.6 assists. He did have 5 turnovers in this one. Colin Sexton, 21 points. He was all over highlight reels in this one after missing a free throw on a trip to the line that he had and then flipping off the basket and frustration there. But Colin Sexton looks good, guys. He's playing really good basketball. There's some good young talent on this roster now post trade deadline that you could look forward to watching night in, night out, even if the wins aren't continuing to stack here. Matas Buzelis did have 18 points in the loss. He continues to be the model of consistency. Started off really, really slow in this one. I think he had just two or 4 points at halftime, really picked it up in the second half. Rob Dillingham added 8 points and 7 rebounds. I believe 7 rebounds for Dillingham is a career high for him. So you're going to see him continue to develop and get more playing time in this system, guys. This is something I talked about the other day, but Rob Dillingham is going to get a lot more action. I look forward to seeing him, get an opportunity to get on the floor more for the Chicago Bulls here. Nick Claxton for Brooklyn put up 28 points and 10 rebounds in their win. Noah Clowney had 22 points for them as well. Nolan Traore had 13 points and 12 assists for them, was a big piece and a good part of their victory there for them on that side of things. The Bulls were without Josh Giddey, Trey Jones, and Jalen Smith in this one, all who did not play. They were are nursing injuries. They could be out, and I would anticipate that those 3 guys are going to continue to kind of monitor those situations when it comes to the injuries. And I think with the final game of the first half prior to the All-Star break here in Boston, I could see all 3 of those guys missing that game as well. We'll have to see. But nonetheless, the Bulls dropped this one 123-115 in a really sloppy basketball game when it comes to, both ends of the floor for the Chicago Bulls, offensively and defensively. They just kind of look sporadic at the moment, and we saw that in this loss. Their ability to score is there. They have some young guns and some young players who can score the basketball. It's just not necessarily a winning formula right now. And like I talked about in our previous episode here, and really after the trade deadline concluded, this Bulls team is more concerned, I think, moving forward on development rather than winning. I think winning basketball games and kind of trying to sneak into the play-in tournament once again is on the bottom of the list of priorities at the moment, guys. And not always easy to swallow that pill if you're a fan, but I think it is the right thing in terms of where this direction is, where this Bulls team is headed and what direction they're trying to take moving forward. So kind of spinning off of that, the direction of this Bulls team, post deadline, it was a given that the assimilation of 7 new players would not be easy. Billy Donovan hinted at this. For any ball club, I don't care if you're contending or if you're rebuilding, like the Bulls are certainly trying to do here. 7 new guys is not easy to get going and to get assimilated together. Having main guys down with injury as well right now makes things even more difficult because you have your mainstays and your guys that you count on as a head coach, and those guys are out of the lineup at the moment. Billy Donovan spoke on this following the loss to the Nets, saying, quote, "It's going to be a real challenge. We have to lean into it." End quote. The rest of this season, guys, is about development of these new players. It's critical for this coaching staff and this front office to kind of figure out what it has in this roster prior to the offseason. There's some major decisions to be made here. And I think we've gotten a good look already. And I know it's early, it's only been a few days, but we've gotten a good look at what these guys can provide. There's a couple spark plugs in terms of the young roster here. And I think there could be some excitement when it comes to some of this talent on this team. I think, Sexton's a very good player, and I think that looking at some of the other possibilities in terms of keeping guys around, Anthony Simons, I don't know if he, again, is going to be a part of the Bulls' future, but Rob Dillingham is another guy to watch for. I mean, there's a lot of names on this roster, guys, that make a lot of sense moving forward. We just have to see how things are going to fit and how Billy Donovan makes it work. So look for more adjustments to be had here the rest of the way, especially post All-Star break. We're going to get a week of action, a week off of NBA action for the Chicago Bulls, I should say. And it comes at a good time because it gives the opportunity to kind of rest. It's a grind, guys. The NBA season, as you guys know, as any season is in professional sports, is a grind. So these guys certainly may be a little burnt out. And there was a lot of change that took place with this organization within the last week and a half. So it's going to be critical to see what we have here in the Chicago Bulls team moving forward. In adjusting to this new look roster is not only something the players have to deal with, this coaching staff and this front office is dealing with it as well. So although we want to win as many ball games as possible as fans, it's a lot easier said than done, guys, especially when you have that much turnover in a roster that quickly. So jumping into the underdog segment today, guys, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, and block parties are back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action, guys. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. Get your picks right, guys, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. Today on Underdog, I'm going to look at the Clippers-Rockets matchup, guys. This is a juicy one when it comes to scoring. Kawhi Leonard's been on an absolute tear. I was actually just watching him the other night, and this guy can really still fill up the score sheet, guys. The game against the Sacramento Kings over the weekend, I mean, Kawhi Leonard was on a tear, just driving to the basket, making it look easy, and he certainly still has that in him as long as he's able to stay on the floor. So I'm going to go higher on his points here, 30.5 points in this one. And then I'm also going to go Alperen Sengun higher than 18.5 points. This is a great matchup for Sengun. The Clippers really have a hard time kind of matching up to a guy like Sengun. They don't necessarily have the pieces necessary with Zubac gone, after the trade deadline to kind of match up to a guy like Sengun. So I like his higher than 18.5 points there. Again, guys, use promo code BasketballFan to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5, guys.
Must be 18 plus. 19 plus in Alabama, Nebraska. 19 plus in Colorado for some games. 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia. And present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/play and get terms DFSTML for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 helpline at 1-878 or text HOMI 467-369.
Alrighty, guys. So to wrap up the show, I got a couple segments that are very important to the Chicago Bulls fans all over the world, guys. The state of this team and the future outlook of this organization will start with the state of the Bulls. The ethical tank seems to be on, guys, and I talked about this prior to today's episode this week. Moving through the rest of this year, there are a few things that are apparent. And the ethical tank is definitely one of them. That's on. The Bulls have dropped 8 of their last 9 games. Are suddenly, they're fun to watch at the moment. They have a lot of young pieces on this roster that look solid. It's just a matter of what it's going to look like the rest of the way. I get it. The All-Star break's coming up, but making the decision to sit guys like Jalen Smith, Trey Jones, Josh Giddey, it's kind of obvious what this organization is leaning towards. Winning ball games is no longer at the forefront of what they're trying to do. They're trying to figure out what they have in this young roster moving forward. And, what they want is to make leaps into understanding again, and I'll lean into this, what they have moving into next year. I don't think Jaden Ivey is a player that you overlook at all if you're the Chicago Bulls organization. He's one of the pieces that I think is going to be a part of this core moving forward. He also did not play against the Brooklyn Nets, I do not believe, but he's going to be a guy I think is going to be very important. And there's some other pieces on this roster at the moment who are going to get a good look from this front office moving forward. The Bulls have a lot of money to spend as well, and that's something that should not be forgotten. I know they didn't land Giannis, and Giannis didn't go anywhere prior to the trade deadline. That's going to be the name to watch. The Bulls have 14 second-round picks, guys, so they have the assets necessary to go jump back into a competitive window right away. They have to make sure, though, that they pull the strings properly and don't jump to something and give up a vast majority of their assets on a few guys. I mean, you want to build this thing and structure it for long-term success. And the state of the Bulls right now is one where the rest of this year, it may not be too fun to watch this team because they may not be winning many ball games. But I certainly am here as a fan, and I've watched this Bulls team, at 28 years old for a vast majority of my life. I've been a big Bulls fan. I've seen a lot of winning seasons in my lifetime, guys. But this team is in a situation right now where they're not necessarily competitive in terms of getting out of that play-in tournament. I would rather have them set themselves up for future success and longevity in terms of being able to compete for championships and not just playoff appearances. I mean, or play-in tournament appearances at that. So, although it's an interesting and kind of a sensitive spot to be in as a fan right now in an organization, the state of the Bulls is one where they're truly looking at the future of this organization. And that's kind of where I wanted to wrap things up today, guys. Are we going to see more change? Is there more change on the horizon? There's a lot of hard decisions that are going to have to be made here moving forward. Billy Donovan could be one of them. You guys know how much I love Billy Donovan. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's been very, very good at multiple levels in his career. He's now 180 and 233 as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, guys. And again, you know how big of a fan I am of Billy. I know a lot of you guys aren't. There's a lot of Bulls fans out there who do not like him. I certainly think he has a knack for developing young players, has a great ability to do that. And talent overall, young talent. He has a great knack for developing players at multiple levels in college and at the NBA level. That same thing has not come very easy this year, though. You've seen some of these young players on the Chicago Bulls roster have a difficult time developing this year outside of Modest Buzelis. He's come a long way in his second season. Josh Giddey's had another great year, but you want to see more out of some of these young players. I mean, they traded Julian Phillips along with, with Ayo Dosunmu. Those are two guys that I was big on, would have liked them to stay. And the fact that we only got a second-round pick for Ayo Dosunmu really does sting, guys. That's a player who's going to give that Minnesota Timberwolves organization a great opportunity to win and to win now. So, I just think that now that they wiped this roster clean, the same question, it's a hard question, has to be asked about this coaching staff. Will they follow suit in the front office and the ownership of the Chicago Bulls in kind of clearing out this coaching staff, guys, in this upcoming draft, assuming the Bulls continue to hypothetically tank here? And I don't like to use that word, but if the Bulls want to give themselves a really good shot at the top 3 there in the draft order in the first round, you have some blue chip talent there to take advantage of on the board this coming season. Darren Peterson out of Kansas is looking like the undoubted number 1 pick in the upcoming draft. He's tearing it up for the Jayhawks this year. That's a guy who looks like he could be a huge factor at the next level. So certainly got to keep an eye on him. Cam Boozer, Carlos Boozer's kid out of Duke. a monster. I mean, this kid is a totally different player than Carlos was. He's super athletic, and this dude at such a young age is turning heads in college right now. And I certainly think if he became a Chicago Bull, he would flip this franchise into being instantly a lot more fun to watch for one and competitive for two. I mean, wouldn't that be something if Carlos Boozer's kid made his way back to the Chicago Bulls organization, and became the face of this team? And then AJ DeBonsta, guys, this kid out of BYU is a monster. So again, you're looking at, and those are just some of the names. This is a loaded draft, a lot of blue chip franchise altering players, guys, to take advantage of. It is key that the Bulls play their cards right to give themselves a shot to land one of those top three guys, in my opinion. I think those three names, and they're going to go in some way, shape, or fashion in the top three of the upcoming draft, are going to change franchises and fortunes for cities across the NBA landscape, guys. And I think there's a great opportunity here. This front office senses that. And I just think in terms of the future outlook of this organization, it's not going to be about winning games the second half of this season, guys. You're going to want to position yourself, if you're the Bulls, to be successful and to actually make an impact and play for championships down the line here at some point. This front office has wasted a lot of time trying to compete with what they have and bringing in veteran talent. That hasn't worked, and I think they certainly recognize that, and that's where the shift of focus has. You've seen that, and they unloaded a lot of the talent on this roster, guys. So overall, that's going to do it for today's show, guys. Let me know in the comments any thoughts that you have on this team. Who would you like to see them draft in the upcoming draft this year? As we head into the All-Star break here, guys, what do you want to see out of this Bulls team? I know I've gotten some comments from you guys, some good comments as well. In terms of trading, more pieces, they've pretty much unloaded this entire roster, guys. I've seen a few of you say, trade everybody else. Everybody else, I think, who is currently on this roster is here to stay. Modest Buzelis, Josh Giddey, Jaden Ivey, I believe, as a restricted free agent this coming summer, is going to have an opportunity to return to the Chicago Bulls as well. So, we'll have to see. It's a lot going on with this organization. A lot of hopes you want to have as a fan that we can get back to a competitive window here. And you're seeing them take and kind of roll out the proper blueprint this time about how to get back there. I think that it may take some time. The Bulls have a lot of money to spend, and that's where I think things could get exciting this summer when you partner that along with a high draft pick that hopefully they continue to climb the board here in terms of the rest of the way in the second half of the season. So that'll do it, guys. Thanks for joining me again, and thank you to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. Again, click that QR code and scan that thing to join today, guys. A lot of great NBA action to get involved in on Underdog Fantasy in the second part of this season post All-Star break. So thanks again. We will see you guys next time.